So today we're going to make scones. What you're going to need, equipment-wise, is a large mixing bowl, a sieve, a rectangular pan or oven dish, a table knife, a pastry cutter, and a pastry brush. For the ingredients, you're going to need 600 grams of self-raising flour, 2 tablespoonfuls of icing sugar, 60 grams of cold butter chopped into small squares, 1.5 cups of milk, 3/4 of a cup of water, and 1/4 cup extra milk, plus some oil for greasing your pan. First thing to do, set the oven to 220 degrees C. Then you can get to work on your butter. So it should be cold, straight from the fridge, and you're going to chop it up into little blocks. Then oil your pan. It's important you oil it really, really well so that your scones don't stick. Then you're going to mix your flour and your icing sugar in a sieve and put them in a sieve and just sieve them into your mixing bowl. Get all the lumps out. Then you can add your chopped butter. And then the next bit is very important. You need to have clean hands, and what you're going to do is you're going to just put your hands into this mixture, and as you can see, you're going to sort of get the butter into the flour and just squeeze it between your fingertips until your mixture resembles something like fine breadcrumbs, and all the butter is evenly dispersed into the flour, and you're just going to have little tiny balls and beads of butter mixed into the flour, but it's all going to be lovely and even. Then you're going to make a well in the center of your mixture and put half of your milk into the center. Then taking a normal knife, you're just going to cut through your mixture, and this is a way of combining the liquid with the dry ingredients. So then you can put the rest of your milk in, keep mixing it around, just cutting through, scraping around, mixing it in. Add the rest of your milk, and then you should be starting to get a very sticky mixture going on. Now the next thing you're going to do is just add a little bit of your water. I didn't use my whole 3/4 of a cup of water, I just used a little bit at this stage, and I just added a bit of the water and again cut through with my knife, combining my dry ingredients with my liquids. So scrape all the remaining flour off. Now what you need to do is flour your surface and tip your sticky dough out of the bowl and onto your floured surface. Now, you need to be quite light-handed with it. Tip a little bit more flour on, and then you're going to start just shaping it into a kind of ball. You don't need to knead it, you're just squeezing it together to become a nice ball of soft dough. Then, once it's become less sticky, what you're going to do is start pushing it down onto your floured surface until it's a nice 2 centimeters, even 2 centimeters deep. Be as accurate as you can so that you get the right number of scones out of this mixture. So once you're happy that you've pushed it down to 2 centimeters, no less than that, you're going to use your cutter, so flour your cutter and then cut through your dough and just twist it. Now make sure that you put your scones, you cut your scones close to each other. You don't want to waste a lot of the dough by having big gaps between it. So then you can just start putting your little scones that you cut into your greased baking tray. And you can push them up against each other so they just touch. Then with your leftover dough, you're going to do what you did at the beginning, and you're going to just squish it together a bit. Be nice and light-handed with it. This kind of dough doesn't really appreciate, it's not like bread dough, it doesn't like to be heavy-handed with it. It doesn't like you to be heavy-handed with it. So then you can just, again, put it onto your floured surface, push it out to 2 centimeters thick, and then take your cutter, flour your cutter, and cut the remaining scones out of your next piece of rolled out dough. So you can see I didn't need a rolling pin, I just pushed it flat with my hands. Now I'm going to put them into the greased tray and just squeeze them all in until I've got Just you can see I've got 5 across and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 down. And I'm just arranging them neatly here. And squeezing them into position, but be very gentle with this dough. It doesn't appreciate being manhandled. Then the next thing you need to do is just brush them with a little bit of the milk, your leftover milk, and then when the oven's hot, you can put them into the oven, being careful not to burn yourself. So that I've got my leftover scones in there as well. I'm going to set my timer to 15 minutes and then do the washing up and prepare the jam and the butter that I'm going to eat my scones with. So traditionally you eat scones with jam and butter, or jam and whipped cream or clotted cream. So when they're done, take them out of the oven very carefully and then check that they're done. And the way you check that they're done is you just tap them with your fingers, and if they make a nice hollow sound, you know that they're done. So mine are done, and I'm going to put them on my wire cooling tray, and then when they're cool enough to handle, you can eat them with a nice cup of tea. There, a scone with butter and jam.